The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
Chicken head, chicken feet, chicken necks is all I eat.
Hello everybody, it is March 23rd, 2016. I'm Vince Russo. This is a bucket full of chicken necks. This is a monumental bucket full of chicken necks. I don't think I've ever done a show in podcasting the last 2 years where I've been this excited, and I'm literally busting inside of wanting to share this big news with you that broke yesterday. But before I get to all that, I got to tell you, I'm a little concerned. As you know, on January 1st, I officially started exercising every single day. I walk about 90 minutes a day and have not missed a day. There were a couple of days when it was really nasty outside and I couldn't walk, and I went down to the gym. Right now in Colorado, there's a severe blizzard happening outside, and it's still snowing. If I had to guess right now, I'd probably say there was about 8 inches on the ground, and it's still coming down. So when I saw the conditions, I was like, okay, no problem. No way I can walk today. I will just walk down to the gym, which isn't that far. Well, the bad news is they closed the gym about 5 minutes ago. So now I'm literally waiting it out. It gets dark at about 7:30 here in Colorado. My walk is an hour and a half. I'm waiting to 6 o'clock to see where we are. But as I said, it's coming down pretty heavy now. The streak is at entire month of January, 31 days. February was 29. That's 60. Today's the 23rd, 82 straight days. I've got some kind of exercise on. So I'm a little concerned right now because I know I have to figure out a way to keep the streak alive. Listen, I'm not here to boast. I'm not going to take my shirt off again. I started this at 249. As of yesterday, I was at 213. The goal is 190, so there's still a good 23 pounds to go. But, you know, exercising every day is a big part of that. And listen, I told you last week about the issue that I always have. You know, my wife thinks it's necessary to shovel the driveway while it's still snowing. There's 8 inches of snow on the ground outside. It's still blizzarding, and my Yahoo neighbor right outside this window from me is literally shoveling. Somebody really needs to explain to me, why does one shovel while it's still snowing? Because you're going to have to shovel twice. So I never understood the theory of that, the rationale of that, and somebody really needs to explain that to me. So my old age, I will understand why anybody would choose to shovel twice when shoveling once sucks, and I hate shoveling the freaking snow. All right, let's talk about the big news, because a lot has happened with the brand over the last, 24 hours or so. A lot of big announcements. Another big announcement is coming on this show to brand members. However, before I get to that, I almost forgot. kayfabecommentaries.com. I got to get my plug in for my buddy. Kayfabe Commentaries, Sean Oliver. I don't know where the copy is right now, but I know what the promo is, so I won't have a problem talking about it. There is a new DVD out in his series, Back to the Territories, with James E. Cornette. And Mr. Cornette sits down with Greg Gagne, and they talk about the old days of the AWA, historical stories of where Eric Bischoff was up and coming. Hulk Hogan was in the AWA before his fame and fortune in the WWE. The legendary Vern Gagne, the father of Greg Gagne, who started the promotion. A lot of history here with the AWA. Kurt Hennig came from here. Scott Hall came from here. Vader came from here. The list goes on and on and on. I was a big fan of AWA wrestling back in the day, and I'm going to watch this video. If you're a wrestling fan, if you're a historian, this is a can't miss. Back to the territories. Jim Cornette, Greg Gagne. Go to kayfabecommentaries.com. The news broke yesterday, and I'm going to go back to the very beginning of how this developed. But the brand, as you know it, will be going on PodcastOne. We will be going on PodcastOne starting Tuesday, April 5th. That's the following day after the big after WrestleMania Raw. So that's a perfect place to start on Tuesday. I will be talking about WrestleCon and that convention, and maybe I'll have a couple of exclusive interviews for you. We will be talking about WrestleMania. We will be talking about the day after on Raw, and we will be talking about our very first show on PodcastOne. The audio version will go out free to the masses. So like you listen to Jericho, like you listen to JR, like you listen to Steve Austin, some incredible shows on PodcastOne, you will now be able to listen to the brand every single day, Monday through Friday. We will be broadcasting for free audio on PodcastOne, and the schedule is going to remain the same. If you're not familiar with the brand, on Monday, you're going to get Vixens Who Rule. That's not going to change. Tuesday, you're going to get our look back at the Attitude Era. Wednesday, you're going to get Chicken Necks. Thursday, you're going to get The Swerve. And Friday, you're going to get Lions, Tigers, Bears, and Dirt. 5 days a week, the brand free on PodcastOne. Now, before I get into how Realm fits into this equation, and it's a beautiful, beautiful marriage, I want to talk about PodcastOne, how this came to fruition, and there are some people I really, really need to thank for this. I will say this. 4 years ago, I left TNA. I was not fired. I was not asked to leave. I left TNA because things just weren't right. And quite frankly, I left a lot of money on the table. I did not have another job lined up. I did not know what I was going to do next. But I did know this about myself. I always had a love for radio. And where that stems from is back in 1983, I was turned on to Howard Stern, and I became a huge supporter of Howard Stern and the Howard Stern Show, and I just loved everything that Stern was doing on his show. That led me to Vicious Vincent's World of Wrestling in 1991, where I got in radio, on my own, and it was my first step into the wrestling business. Back in 1991, Vicious Vincent's World of Wrestling, Skull Von Crust, the Mat Rat. I got to tell you, I absolutely loved this. I loved the medium of radio. I loved having the opportunity to express myself and go on the air and talk about whatever I wanted to talk about. No holds barred. And it was a great experience for me. As a matter of fact, once I got into, the legitimate wrestling business, starting with WWE, WCW, TNA, a lot of it was not fun anymore. There were a lot of politics involved. I've talked about that to nauseam. And then more deeply and heavily involved, I got in, WWE, WCW, and TNA. I really missed what I had when I was innocent and I was naive, and I was just on the radio, WGBB in Long Island, and I never forgot that experience. Fast forward, 91 to 2016. 4 years ago, when I leave TNA, I don't know what I'm going to do. Let me pick it up there. I open up another business that fails miserably. Like I've told you on many occasions, being a business owner is not my strong point. I don't have the tools for it. A lot of times I wind up going back into it because with a wrestling resume and quite frankly, not wanting to get back in the wrestling business, I was very limited to what I could do. So I wound up opening my own business. That business went belly up. I start consulting with TNA because a lot of the reasons why I left in the first place were no longer there. I started consulting at TNA. You know what happened there. I was let go of my consulting duties at TNA. I was never an employee of TNA. I was never fired from TNA. I was basically told your consulting duties are no longer needed. No problem. I left. I still didn't know what I wanted to do. And the fact of the matter was, I did not want to get back in the wrestling business. I really did not want to. I was heading down that road with TNA as a consultant because, quite frankly, I needed to make money and I needed a paycheck and I needed to bring money in to pay the bills. But it's not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to go to the WWE. I know how much that has changed since I left, and it's a totally different world. Well, at that point, I made the decision to go back to my roots. Let me go back to what it is that I loved prior to getting in the business, and that was broadcasting. That was radio. Times have changed today, so there was an opportunity with the podcasting. So we started a website, pyroandballyhoo.com, where I would write every day feverishly some of my best work, and I would start podcasting, not so much then as I am now. I think I started with the Swerve one day a week, and it eventually has grown to what it is now. You all know the story if you follow the brand. I went to log on to the computer one day. I was literally blocked out of Pyro and Ballyhoo, not knowing anything technically. I was more or less held hostage, but I wasn't going to give into demands and I wasn't going to go give into threats. That's not Vince Russo. And I don't recommend going down that road with me because I will find another way to do things. You're not going to blackmail me. You're not going to threaten me. You're not going to hold anything over my head. You're not going to give me a list of demands because if you know me, I'm going to tell you to go scratch your ass in Macy's window and I'll start all over again. And that's exactly what I did. I started all over again. We started with the brand. We contacted the Realm Network so we would have a place to put up our shows immediately. And, Realm was there for that, and I greatly, greatly appreciate that. However, with all that being said, I really felt that the reach of the brand wasn't what it needed to be. Not only does Vince Russo have a lot to say, the brand has a lot to say. We as a whole has a lot to say. And quite frankly, Realm, being a new company, is somewhat limited with their reach and their marketing and their advertising and their promotion, and rightfully so. They're an upstart, network just getting their feet wet. They really did not have the money to invest in a Vince Russo to give me the platform that I needed. So as I looked at the landscape in podcasting, I kept going back to one place and one place only. And that was PodcastOne. The lineup of the shows that they had, I'm a huge Stern mark, but right behind Howard Stern is Adam Carolla. I'm a huge mark of Adam Carolla. He is he is almost the founder of podcasting. He was there at the very, very beginning of this medium, and I'm a huge fan of Carolla. I've gone with my kids to see Carolla do stand-up. Supported him with his television endeavors. I'm a huge fan of his. The wrestling shows that were on PodcastOne, from Jericho to Steve to JR, I was a huge fan of these shows, and I knew they were getting a tremendous reach because I knew PodcastOne was the #1 podcasting company in the nation. And I was like, if only I could get on PodcastOne, if only I had the ability to put up our content for free for the masses to listen to what we had to say, to listen to the variety of our shows, to listen to the no holds barred contact and how we speak our mind. If only I could reach the masses. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I got a text in the morning. I didn't even know who the text was from. It was from Steve Austin. Steve asked me if I could do his podcast, that morning. I said, absolutely, Steve, no problem. Hey, listen, when Stone Cold Steve Austin calls you, you jump. You jump. No matter what time it is, no matter how tired you are, no matter how late at night, you jump. So I said to Steve immediately, let's do it. I did the podcast with Steve. I was as open, raw, and honest as I always am. So was Steve. The podcast went a little long. Steve had to separate that into 2 shows. The feedback was unbelievable from just about everybody that listened to the show. And listen, that's no surprise to me. And I'll tell you what. Why? Because if you haven't listened to me, you've listened to things that were said about me by people that don't know me and have no idea of what I'm about. Their intentions are to bury me, so they go out of their way to bury me, whether it's out of jealousy, whether it's out of they don't like my style of wrestling, whether it's bigotry because I'm a New Yorker. Regardless of what it is, there are people whose agendas are to bury Vince Russo. Well, unfortunately, when sooner or later people get to listen to me and listen to my experience and listen to my views on the wrestling business, they sit back and say, you know what? What he's saying is kind of spot on. I kind of agree with this Russo. And at the end of the day, the guy just wants wrestling to be great again, just like us. And that's what happened over the course of the next couple of weeks. Well, I guess PodcastOne was listening to those shows. They reached out. We started talking. And the next thing I know, there's a contract, and the offer is put on the table for Vince Russo to bring the brand to PodcastOne 5 days a week for free, starting on Tuesday, April 5th. People love to say to me, you're bitter because you're not working for TNA. You're bitter because you're not working for the WWE. You're waiting. So one of the Nimrods from the one of the websites the other day basically said, yeah, you're running a YouTube channel waiting for your phone to ring. And I said to nauseam, no, I have no desire to get back in the wrestling business. I have no desire to work for TNA. I have no desire to work for the WWE. Listen, if they asked me for my help, would I help? Yes, I would, because I'm not going to preach about wanting to make the wrestling great again and not do anything about it. If they reached out and they wanted help, they wanted consulting, they wanted advice, of course I would give them it. But was my goal to get back working for Vince McMahon again or Dixie Carter? No, it absolutely was not. And I stated that again and again and again and again. My goal was to sell me. My goal was to sell Vince Russo. My goal was to sell the brand. My goal was to get on a bigger platform. And now we've accomplished that with PodcastOne. And I cannot thank Steve Austin enough for giving me the opportunity to be heard on his show that goes out to hundreds of thousands of people. I cannot thank the people at PodcastOne enough for extending the olive branch and believing in me and thinking that our show could be a success 5 days a week on their network. I can't thank them enough. But now I want to go to how this fits in with the Realm Network. This is how it's going to work. We are going to do our 5 shows every week, the ones that I just mentioned to you, Vixens, Attitude, Chicken Necks, Swerve, and Lions, Tigers, Bears, and we're going to do them on video Monday through Friday. They are going to appear on the Realm Network as usual. So you will have the opportunity to subscribe to those shows through the Realm Network and see the video of every one of those shows. Now, the following day, PodcastOne will take the audio of that show and they will put it up on iTunes. They will put it up on PodcastOne, and they will play the audio version for free. So now you could hear the audio version in your car, in your gym, in the shower, wherever it is that you are. You don't have to see my ugly puss. You could just hear the audio version. I know a lot of you are used to that. That wasn't offered at Realm. So basically at Realm, you're going to have the option to subscribe and see the shows, see the women that I bring on in Vixens, see the superstars and the entertainers that I bring on, in the Swerve, see me, see Jeff, see Andre. I don't know anybody in their right mind that would want to see Andre, but maybe there's a person or two. The following day, the shows will be played, the audio version, on PodcastOne for free. Now, I got a couple huge announcements as it pertains to PodcastOne. First of all, if you are a subscriber on Realm Network and you're getting the video, there are going to be exclusive videos monthly only to the subscribers of the Realm Network. You're going to get exclusive video just for you that you're not going to be able to listen to on the PodcastOne. That's number one. Number two, here's the big announcement. Here is the big announcement. Starting April 1st, if you are a member of the brand through the Realm Network, everybody, if you're a member of the brand, regardless of what you paid for your membership, everybody is going to be transferred over to the low fee of $295 a month. So whether you're paying $495, it doesn't matter. Whether you're paying $395, it doesn't matter. If you're a active member of the brand, a current member of the brand, starting April 1st, your membership is going to transfer and go down to the price of $295 a month. Let me do the math for you real quick. That's less than 75 cents a week. So for 75 cents a week, you're going to be able to see the video version of all our shows and exclusive video content that only you're going to be able to see. Going forward, the price of joining the brand starting April 1st, $295 a year. And now you have one-stop shopping. There's a brand new website. You want to sign up for Realm? You go to russosbrand.com. We launched it today, a brand new website. Basically, you can get the merch on there now. You can get brand shirts. You can get my books on there. You can get the DVDs on there. You can get Jeff Lane's book on there. You can get autographed pictures on there directly through russosbrand.com. Sign up for the Realm. You'll see all our latest blogs, and we're going to be blogging daily. Just like we did at Pyro and Ballyhoo, we're not going to be going in there once a week. When I have something to say, I'm going to russosbrand.com and I'm going to say it. But if you want to sign up for the brand, you can even sign up now. It doesn't matter. April 1st, your membership will permanently go down to $295 a month and that's 75 cents a week. And around the April 1st date, we will be launching a huge promotion around the interview I did with Stone Cold Steve Austin. We'll start talking about that on Monday. We're going to tie that in with you joining the brand on the Realm Network. So I hope that explains everything to you. The Realm Network is alive and well. You'll be able to see our videos on the Realm Network, 75 cents a week, $295 a month, starting on April 1st. On April 5th, we go on PodcastOne 5 days a week. You will be able to listen to the audio version absolutely free. Nothing will stop you from listening to me. So I hope you understand all that. I have a list of questions, and I'm going to go over them as well, because I know some of you had some very specific questions. Before I do this, people I want to thank, and I really need to thank, and I hope I don't forget anybody. Listen, when Pyro and Ballyhoo was pulled out from underneath me, and it was a surprise, I was not expecting it, I was screwed. I did not know what to do. I did not know where to start. I did not know how to build another website. I did not know what I was going to do. And keep in mind, my income stopped immediately. The few dollars I was making from Pyro and Ballyhoo, that stopped. So first and foremost, I want to thank Joe LaCastro, Jolo, if you remember him back from the day, and we're still friendly, and Jolo's going to come back on the show, but he was there that day. And he really helped me save my content. He helped me get in touch with the people I needed to get in touch with. And in that one very pivotal day, Jolo helped me regroup, helped me get my ducks in a row, helped me put a plan in place, because technically I did not know what I was going to do. And I will never forget him for helping me that day and the weeks that followed. Jolo, I hope you're listening. I will never forget you. You are welcome back on the show anytime you want, and I will bring you back on the show. I know we've talked about it. Second of all, most importantly, the most important guy to the brand. I mean, there's no question about this. The backbone of the brand, and he was there at Pyro and Ballyhoo, and it's Jeff Lane. Jeff is my guy. He is my right-hand man. He is the backbone of the brand. There are so many things Jeff does when it concerns the brand that I would be totally lost. Listen, you know I got ADD. You know I can only concentrate on one thing at a time, and I like to be the talent. I like to concentrate on the content. I like to be creative. I don't like to be bogged down with the minutia. Well, Jeff does all that stuff. Yes, he's my co-host. He puts together a great show, Destiny Unbound. He's got a great creative mind, but he also takes care of the day-to-day of the brand. And Jeff Lane single-handedly built the new website, russosbrand.com. Jeff built that all literally in the matter of a week. All of it from scratch. And listen, man, if I succeed, Jeff is going to succeed. I've already told him that. You know, he's going to be attached. He's done so much. I don't forget those people that helped bring me to the dance. I don't forget Mark Ronick from the Realm Network that was there when I needed I needed a launching pad. And he was there. Realm was there. Jeff was there. I don't forget these people. That's why it was very important to me when negotiating with PodcastOne that I was still able to have the relationship with Realm. I don't forget these people. I'm not like that. I'm very, very, very grateful. You know, Jake Jesus was one of our early writers. Jake is still writing with us today. Pastor Dave, you know, About Life every Sunday. Scott Casey Gale, Sarah Russo with Beauty and the Beast. Now we got the Stupid Ugly Guys, you know, on the network. It keeps growing and growing and growing, and some really creative people that just keep adding and adding and adding content. Zach Eisenstein from Man Overboard, he's got his own show now. Blake Mitchamore, who is a big fan of the brand, a big supporter of the brand, he's going to be starting his own show. That was the idea of the whole network to begin with, that we wanted to grow it. If you have talent, this was a place to bring your talent and showcase your talent. And so many people have contributed to the brand. It's unbelievable. And then there are the supporters, and I know I'm going to forget people, but, you know, of course, Big Josh comes to mind first and foremost, the heart and soul of the brand. Then there's Ryan, who's a big fan of the brand. We've always gotten Ryan's support. We've always gotten Alex's support. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on of those people that have supported the brand from day one. And that's why it was so important for me to keep that subscriber base, to keep the heart and soul of the brand beating. I talk to you every single day. I can't tell you how many people I DM, and we're not talking about wrestling. And a lot of times we're talking about the personal struggles that they have and I have. That's literally what the brand has become. It's not just a wrestling website. As a matter of fact, that is probably the least important thing. It is a way of life. We care about each other. We're there for each other. We support each other. We're a family. If you go to russosbrand.com right now, and I know Jeff put a section up of what is the brand. I explain in my own words exactly what it is. What comes to me when I think of the brand. Hopefully, I hope you check that out. I hope you check out russosbrand.com. We're going to be putting content up there every single day. I want to read now some of your questions that you sent on Twitter in case I haven't covered them here in the broadcast. Let me read them to you. Ryan wants to know, in WWE, did they provide you your own hotel room, or did you have to have a roommate? And if so, did Ed break wind? Thank God, Ryan, I did not have to have a roommate. I could, bro, there is no way I could have been able to stand a roommate when I was in the wrestling business, let alone them stand me. It's a two-way street. Absolutely not. And, bro, I got to tell you, I'm a little scared because at WrestleCon Friday night, I've invited Jeff Lane to stay in my room. And I don't like that, bro. I don't like anybody in my room. I like walking around naked. I like passing the occasional win. I don't like anybody in my room. I've invited Jeff Lane for one night and one night only. We'll see how that goes. Christopher Bell, how many shows a week? I don't understand this, but how many shows a week cost? If there will be video, if Bucketful of Chicken Necks will stay, what shows there will be? I think what he's asking is, what will the lineup be? The lineup will be exactly what it is now. Nothing is going to change. We're going to be developing new shows. We're going to be rotating shows in and out. But the core of PodcastOne and Realm Network are going to be the same 5 shows. Alex, will you guys still record shows with Scott Casey, Gale, and also anything but freaking wrestling? Absolutely, yes, that is the plan. We will probably do anything but freaking wrestling over the weekend. That will probably be one of the shows that is exclusive to Realm Network subscribers that you won't hear on PodcastOne. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Dirk King, I think this is Boris, another great supporter of ours. What are your plans for your time in Dallas? Do we get stuff from the can, or will you do your shows from there, maybe live? Guys, to be honest with you, I'm flying into Dallas Friday night, and I'm coming home Saturday night. I'm zipping in and zipping out. It's not going to affect anything. Obviously, when Jeff and I are there together, I'm going to have my camera. We're going to try to get as much audio and video as we possibly can within that window. I'm going to ask Jeff to record the question and answer with myself and Ed. So we will be able to have that for you as well on the Realm Network. Again, that will probably be exclusive to Realm subscribers starting April 1st at $2.95 a month. Class VAC, if the shows are free on PodcastOne audio, won't it affect the amount of subscribers, or do you have that covered with other income? No, bro. I told you, you're gonna, first of all, you get the video. You get to see the hot girls on Vixens. You're gonna get to see the superstars on Swerve. You're gonna get exclusive content you're not gonna get on PodcastOne. And it's $2.95. We just lowered the price. It's 75 cents a week. What, do you want me to break that down to 5 shows at 75 cents a week? I think that's 15 cents a show, not including the exclusive content. D+, another great supporter. Did he and the family celebrate, or did they just treat it like another day? No, there's no celebration. I'm celebrating with you guys. I'm celebrating with Jeff. I'm celebrating with all the people that made this possible. Listen, bro, I told you there's a blizzard outside. Even if we wanted to celebrate, there's no place to go. Bertha Faye, Will Realm Video post one day before Podcast One? Yes, it will. Or is it the other way around? Thanks and congrats to you. Yes, you will get the video first. The video first on Realm, the following day, the audio for free on Podcast One. Reptoid 2000. Why doesn't Vince buy vincerusso.com? It's only $695. Why would I pay some Nimrod $695 for my name? That will never happen. Nimrod, who owns it, you can hold on to it forever because you will never get a dime from me for vincerusso.com. Russosbrand.com is easy enough to remember. That's where you need to go. Jeff Lane. Is this a site that people will want to visit multiple times a day? Absolutely. We will be feeding new content. Jeff, myself, our contributors daily, hourly on Vince Russo brand. Russo's brand. Russosbrand.com. Multiple times a day. There will be new information on there. For Sally L. Pattersoni, is there any chance of having JR on the brand? Yes. I was on JR show a couple of times. JR says he will gladly do the brand. You got to understand with guys like JR and Austin, they're very, very busy. They both said they've come on the show. There's no doubt in my mind they will come on the show, but they have busy schedules, so we're just going to have to work around their schedule. But I look very forward to having JR and Austin on the show. And Nick, Mr. Russo Bro, great news about Podcast One. Will you still be associated with Wrestling Inc., bro? Yes, I will still be associated with Wrestling Inc. I will still be a guest on their show every Monday for the Raw reviews and for the pay-per-view reviews. After April 5th, once we launch on Podcast One, I will probably stop with Nuclear Heat. You will probably not be able to get that podcast there anymore, but I will be going forward with the Raw review and with the pay-per-view reviews on Wrestling Inc. That is the plan. All right, everybody. I hope that answered everything for you. We will be starting on Podcast One Monday through Friday. The shows will be audio version free starting April 5th. Realm will continue on video. On April 1st, if you are a subscriber, your membership fee will go down to $295 a month across the board. Whether you're paying $495, $395, it doesn't matter. We are going to adjust everybody to $295 a month. That's 75 cents a week. That's 15 cents a day. You will get exclusive programming on the Realm Network that you are not going to get on Podcast One. Russosbrand.com is the new website. We will be updating that every single day. You can now get the merch there, celebrity voice message, whatever you want. It's all on Russosbrand.com. That's it, everybody. I hope I covered it all. Any questions, feel free to tweet me. I will answer them. Again, anybody who has had anything to do with the brand over the last couple of years, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you. You know, I've always told you, and I've always been an advocate of, I don't believe in politics. I don't believe in stabbing each other in the back to get ahead. I don't believe in lying. I don't believe in trickery. I don't believe in smoke and mirrors. I believe in doing things the right way. And I hope you see over the last 2 years, starting with Pyro and Ballyhoo, having it shut down, doing everything I could to make it right with all my subscribers, joining the brand. When Podcast One extends an opportunity, doing everything in my power to keep the Realm Network, in play, because it's all a family for me. I don't forget what people have done for me. I don't forget what you supporting me has done. But it's all been built on honesty, integrity, telling the truth, hard work, persistence. It's all been done the right way. And you know what? It may take a little longer to get there, but I'll tell you what. You do the right thing, you're going to get there. And when you get there, and you know that you got there the right way, the feeling of pride and of accomplishment, is one that is almost undescribable. Knowing you did it the right way and didn't have to screw others along the way, didn't have to bury others, you did it the right way. That is the most rewarding feeling that you can ever have. So I hope everybody takes this as an example. They tried to bury us. They tried to not pay attention to us. They tried to say bad things about us. They tried to accuse me of a lot of things that weren't true. And here we are, the pinnacle of the brand, all of us together as a family, vowing to make wrestling great again. We will see everybody Friday, myself and Jeff and Andre, Lions, Tigers, Bears, and Dirt. Thanks for listening, everybody. From the absolute bottom of my heart, thank you.
Pro Wrestling's history class is now in session with Back to the Territories. Join host Jim Cornette and J.J. Dillon as they explore Mid-Atlantic wrestling.
Sitting there with his hands like this was Jim Crockett Sr.
3.5 hours of wrestling history told through rare memorabilia and exclusive footage.
Nothing topped Wahoo McDaniel and Johnny Valentine.
Featuring over an hour of lost Mid-Atlantic film footage from Jim Cornette's collection.
The kid from Minnesota, it was going to be something, Ric Flair.
Head back to Mid-Atlantic Wrestling at shootinterviews.com.